So today's lecture is the introduction to SQLAlchemy ORM. So we will consider what is SQLAlchemy, why would you like to use ORM and SQLAlchemy exactly. We will consider SQL examples, SQLAlchemy examples, and we redesign our 6 lectures code to use SQLAlchemy and Flask combination extension library here. Let's start. So SQLAlchemy is the toolkit with the object relational mapper, and the idea behind the object relational mapper is that you don't want to write the SQL code, guys. All you want to do is use methods, okay? And these methods will convert your methods to SQL code by itself. So you no longer need to know how SQL works. Okay, so this is how to say it. It is a way to avoid writing the SQL statements. Even if you don't know SQL, you can create tables, you can update values, input values, and so on. Okay, so how to install the SQLAlchemy, and its official documentation is provided here, so you can go and check it, see the examples, because this is some fine library with good content in it. Okay, and ORM is a technique that lets you query and manipulate data from a database using an object-oriented paradigm. So here is the features that SQLAlchemy provide you. Like industrial strength ORM built from the core on the identity map and so on. Theory. So here is the full list. Why would you like to use the SQLAlchemy, guys? And let's start from the first example. Okay. So if you open on the 7th week the code, I have provided lecture 7 code, and you will see that you have 2 examples. First one is the SQLAlchemy example, and the second one is the redesigned lecture 6 code to use the SQLAlchemy, with the website we have written in the previous lecture. And what we would like to use. So in SQLAlchemy, you can use next classes like column, foreign key, integer, string. So this is definitely a data type that we are going to use to our fields. And we will use declarative base, and we will use some relationship. Okay. So base class will apply the declarative mapping process to all subclasses. So this base class is actually will help you to create or to connect to a database tables. Yes, so you generally connect to the database on your SQL server, and if your tables doesn't exist, if your tables don't exist, they will be created, or you just connect to the database and you will use next class as the table. So you can refer to the table entries using these um, instances of these 2 classes here. So if you remember the uh, example from the lecture number 5, where I have explained the Python and SQLite, MySQL and PostgreSQL. There we had some code with the cars and users. Okay, so the relationship was like user can have many cars and one car can belong only to one person. Okay, and the idea here is the same, guys. It's kind of easy to create tables using the classes. Okay, so the first one, we will declare some base class. So this will be done by declarative base a method, or class that is coming from the SQLAlchemy ORM. Next, you need to provide the fields for the tables. And as you can see, here we have a table name, yeah, with double underscore on the both sides, and you need to provide some name, okay, in the string. So this is going to be used as the table name when the SQL code is done, yeah, or created. And next stuff is the like the fields of the table or columns of the table. So we have user ID. So it's exactly the same example but written in the object-oriented way. Yeah. So we have user ID, which is the column, and the type is integer, guys, and the primary key is true. The nice thing here is that when you say that this is a primary key and it's a combination of integer, your values will be auto incremented by itself. So you no longer need to provide this auto increment stuff. So it's going to be done by SQLAlchemy for you. So login is the column and the string. Yeah, you can see that this is a little bit different from simple Python string, and this is a class. And here's the length. Yeah, obviously this is the length of the value that can be stored here. So unique true, because I'm going to use this class for the next example for the registration. Yeah, if you watched the yesterday's lecture, guys, you know that I have created classes, I have created methods to manage the database and use these classes for the registration. Yes, yesterday's example. Today we have almost the same stuff, but this code is going to be a little bit shorter. Okay, so we still have model, yeah, and we have user first name, user last name, and password. So nullable means it cannot be null. Okay, so nullable false is the column value must not be empty. Okay, and here, guys, we can create a relationship. Yeah, I've just commented it for this example because I don't need it here. And you can see that I can refer to the cars table using the relationship. Yeah, in the relationship, first argument should be provided the uh, class name in this string value. Yeah, so the car here is the same as the class here, car. And we have back populates owner. Yeah, so we are getting all the related cars from the cars table in the user attribute. So user cars is going to be an attribute, guys. This is an attribute of the class, but this won't be appearing in the table. So when you retrieve a user, you don't need to write SQL code uh, if you want to find his cars. All his cars will be stored in the user cars in this attribute, and this is really nice. This is going to be a list, guys. Okay, so this is going to be a list, and here we have cascade. Yes, so cascade or restrict. And cascade means you can erase some, for example, if you erase a user, yes, the cars that belong to this user will be deleted because we have this stuff here, delete orphan. Orphan means, like, you know what orphan means, yes? So we don't, if we don't have any owner for the car, this piece of code will say that it should be deleted. Okay, so this is what cascade all delete orphan means. And next stuff is the same, yeah, so almost the same table. We have table name, cars, yeah, we have car ID, which is also integer, and primary key, which is also will be auto incremented. We have car vendor, which cannot be null, yeah, car model, which is the same, not null. And car owner is the foreign key here. So we know that this is going to be an integer, yeah, the value itself. And we are referring to the user ID table here. Yeah, so users dot user ID. You can see that this is a little bit different. Yeah, I'm not referring to the class name, but I'm referring to the table name. Okay, so this piece of code, like foreign key users dot user ID, says it should go to the column of the users and get user ID value. Okay, when you create an entry, and of course this cannot be null. And finally, we have this wrapper method. So when we retrieve data, if you want to see a user object or cars object, you will get some kind of description, okay, representation of these objects, and this is how it look like. Yeah, so like we have user ID, we have name and surname, and we will get some uh, corresponding data. And yep, that's it. So let's see how it works, guys. Here I have all this code. Yeah, so this is the models. This is the models, and this gives us nothing at the beginning. What we want is we want to connect to the SQL server. Okay, and if you go to the connection pie, you will see this kind of code, guys. And how it works. So get engine creates us an engine. Yeah, so engine is obviously some SQL server. And to this engine, you need to provide some connection string. And you can see I have a default connection string. This connection string, guys, might be different. This might be a logical connection string. Yeah, like if you provide here this stuff like memory, our table, sorry, our database will be stored only logically for the time that we are going to use this database. Otherwise, it won't be saved. And this is a really nice shortcut here where you can use for the development, for the small development or for the testing. But I prefer to use some kind of real database. Yeah, so uh, yeah, this is not TB but DB, guys. So I'm going to delete this DB. So yeah, and if you're going to use MySQL or PostgreSQL, instead of SQLite, you will write PostgreSQL or uh, MySQL. Okay. Also, you need to provide here some kind of credentials, like you will provide your username. You will have this example later on the next week anyway, guys. I will show you how to connect to the PostgreSQL or MySQL database. Yeah, but for now, you need to provide some kind of this stuff, saying that you have some kind of username, you have some kind of password, and the database that you're going to connect. Okay, so this will be a way how you're going to connect to PostgreSQL or MySQL stuff. Okay, for now we are going to use just SQLite, and this is faster. So we are going to create engine. Yeah, so this is clearly some SQL server, and we are maintaining some connection. Okay, we provide some connection string. We have echo true and future true. I don't remember the exact description, but future true means right now SQLAlchemy has two different versions, 1.4 and 2.0. Future means you're going to support both of them. Okay, so this is according to their description, but I'm not sure how it exactly works. Okay, so this is just the example how the engine can be created. We can skip this part like echo true and future true. It's going to work anyway. And yeah, our function returns the engine, yeah, that was created, and we are going to create a data definition language. Yeah, so data definition language is the data description of a data. Yeah, so how the tables are going to be created, and this piece of code like base.metadata dot create all and engine says we are going to convert the models, yeah, the models into SQL code. You will see right now, yeah, when I run it. Finally, we have some CRUD, yeah. So for now, I have only a create entry, so it's going to be stored in the database. Yes, and to do so, guys, I will work with the context manager, and here is some session, yeah, and I refer to this as a session, and you can use add all, yeah, add all, and when you use this method add all, guys, uh, is going to be a list of objects that are created from models. Okay, or you can use just one method called add. Okay, you also have like delete and about update. It's a little bit different. You need to use just the specification. Yeah, so two native methods is the add all, and delete. So delete obviously deletes the entry from the table if we provide the object. Okay, so if you know how the object is object data, you just provide to the delete the object name. So you can write these two functions by yourself. So try it, yeah. And finally, we have main. So we have main, and what I'm going to do, guys, is just create a simple registration. Yeah. So the first one is returning us all the users, all the available users, and I don't want to repeat the login. Yeah, the login cannot be repeated because it should be unique. That is why I'm going to give a user a list of existing users. Okay, so yeah, here in the main we create engine from the function get engine that is written in the connection. We're going to create table DDL, yeah, data definition language, converting the models to the SQL code. Next, we're going to create an object of user. Yeah, so login is the input from a user first name and second name and password, all the inputs from the uh, user. So after that, I just show what kind of uh, users I have here. Yeah, so I do create a user object. I provide this user object to the create entry. This will save it in the database. Next, I'm going to show available user IDs. Why I need it? Because my car owner is the foreign key. Yeah, and if I provide non-existing user ID, it's going to be crashed. Yeah, because I'm trying to refer to a data that is not existing. Yeah, and again I create the car, yeah, in the database in the table of cars, and it will be saved. So yeah, here we have how the query is returning the values here. So let's try it. Yeah. So you can see, guys, this uh, where was it? Yeah. So in the main, guys, this create table DDL returns us this stuff here, the first one and the second one. So create table DDL returns us some SQL code. So this is the initialization of the non-existing tables or connection to the database and get ready to use the tables defined in the models. Okay, so you can see that this was converted to the SQL code, and we have user ID integer not null. And the perfect thing here, guys, you know that you have a little bit different syntax for the PostgreSQL, a little bit different for the MySQL, and a little bit different from in SQLite. That's right, you know. Yep. And this is in SQLAlchemy, it is a little bit unified. So all you need to do is to provide the connection string that says you're going to connect to a certain database in the certain database management system, and the code will be the models will be converted to SQL code that you need. Okay, you don't write this SQL code, so this is nice. So let's try to create some user. Yeah. So right now we have two tables, users and cars, and these two tables are empty. Okay, and if I try to provide login here, yeah, for example, um, my name, my surname, and password. Let's say 123. So yeah, you can see that we have created other SQL code. Yeah, so from the engine, when we create, when we pass the user to create entry, yeah, in the create entry we have this piece of code, yeah, like add all. Add all guys returns us this stuff, yeah. So like insert into users and values. Okay, nice and easy. So we also can see that this user is created. Okay, and so we want to add one car, yeah. So we can see that only one user exists in the table. So definitely we are going to bind this car to this user, yeah. So let's say car vendor is some kind of Mercedes, and we have a model, yeah, like uh, E series. User ID is one, and yeah, the code is converted to the SQL and it is written in the database. Let's check it. So yeah, we have user and we have a car. Okay, so this is how it works. Any questions so far? No, everything is clear. Okay, nice. So this was the examples related to the MySQL, oh sorry, SQLAlchemy, and let's consider the next examples, guys. So this was the SQLAlchemy exactly, guys. And in order to work with the combination of Flask and SQLAlchemy, you need to install another uh, library called Flask dash SQLAlchemy. So this is a kind of helper between Flask and SQLAlchemy. Okay, so let's see how the code has changed. Yeah, so in the database folder, guys, you remember if you watched the last lecture. Yeah, I'm not sure that you watch it, but anyway, in this database table, I had different classes. Yeah, like DB and I don't remember what was the names. Okay, I have redefined this folder. Yeah, I have created two py files called crude and models.py. Models.py, guys, is just a copy paste, yeah, but slightly different. What I did is I have imported the SQLAlchemy from the Flask SQLAlchemy library, guys, and from the Flask app, I have imported the app itself. This is not a library, guys. This is a py file I have defined it in the main, yeah, so in the main folder. I mean, like in the project folder. So here, if you remember, guys, my main was completely mess. Yeah, I had the objects, everything here. Right now, I have divided into several parts. Yeah, so my application and its settings is in the different file. So I'm storing the application and its settings here in the folder called Flask app. Okay, so I have application, I have configuration, and in the configuration you need to provide next keyword. Yeah, sorry, next key. So SQLAlchemy database unified resource identifier. Okay, and this is going to be a full path to my table, or sorry, database. So my database is lecture 6 gb.db, and I haven't recreated this database. I have used the existing database, guys, and just uh, changed the way how I interact with it. Okay, so it's still the same database from the previous lecture, from the previous example, but now to connect to it, I use this string here. Yeah, so this is, guys, a full path to my database file here. Okay. If you're going to use PostgreSQL or MySQL, you are going to write the uh, uh, s- gosh the path to the SQL server or MySQL server database. Okay, so it's going to be some kind of uh, link. Okay, so right now we have a file here, and yeah, secret key was used to get a session. Yeah, and yeah, let's see the models again. So I have created an object of SQLAlchemy, yeah, which gets the app as an argument. Okay, so we have our Flask application integrated to our SQLAlchemy library or object, and from this object we are going to create a model. Okay, so the model, guys, is another way to say table. Okay, so we cannot say table in the object-oriented programming. That is why we're going to use the word model. Okay, so but the idea behind model is base what was it uh, declarative base. So this is the base class. Okay, so the logic is the same behind like base class. Okay, so we are considering this model as a base class and we are just inheriting from it. Okay, the rest of the code is more or less the same. Yeah, so we say that we are getting a column from the DB. Yeah, because this SQLAlchemy is obviously storing all the other stuff related to the SQLAlchemy. I could have imported this column. I could have imported these data types here, like string, integer, or foreign key. But I can refer from this object. Okay, so the code hasn't changed at all. It was just a little bit refactored. Yeah, and the logic behind the models stay the same. So we still have the same columns. We have these user cars. Yeah, this is an attribute which will store all the cars related to a certain user. Okay, and we also have the same car table with the same columns, and we have owners. So if we retrieve some data from car table, we will know the owner of this car. Okay, so actually you don't need this field here, but I just decided to write it here. So you got the clear point. How do you think? Why you don't need this attribute here? Hmm? Yeah, why don't you need this relationship between like exactly in this table? Like owner is kind of this. Yeah, we do have relationship. We do have relationship using this foreign key. So they are bound to each other. But this is not a column. This is not a column. This is an attribute of the object. And this is a list of uh, other objects. So in user, we have this user cars, which stores all the cars that is related to exactly one or other user. Okay, so we can have many cars here, but if you retrieve a car object, yeah, so if you store some data in the car object, uh, for one car we will have only one owner. So that is why this is unnecessary here. Okay, so when you design your tables and models, think about it. Okay, so this is how models pi looks like. Yeah, it's almost the same. Next we have CRUD, guys. So we have a CRUD, we have add user. Yeah, and to add user, I'm going to use a DB object. Yeah, DB object is defined here, guys, in the models. Okay, and from this DB object, I'm going to add user, delete user, or get all the users. Yeah, but it's not related to the DB object. What I'm interested in is session. Okay, Session is the between your application and SQL Server. Okay, so in this session we can provide some transactions, yeah, kind of transactions, or we provide some SQL code that do changes in tables. Yeah, so in session you have again method add or add all, and because I'm not going to add many users, yeah, I'm going to add exactly one. All I want to do is just use this add and provide one object of a model of a model, yeah. And you need to also do commit, guys. If you don't do commit, yeah, using the session, when you use the with context manager, the commit is going to be automatically performed. But if you don't use the with manager, guys, you're going to commit it by yourself. Okay, so if you don't commit, if you remember from the fifth lecture, guys, this uh, how to say it, this approves the changes in the database. Okay, so when the user is added, we are going to commit it to the database, so we are going to store it. Okay, so this commit means we do changes. So this is how database folder looks like. Next we have main.py, yeah, and I have redesigned the imports too, guys. So I have erased all the imports that I'm not using, yes. And at the beginning it might be a little bit confusing, but I think you will get the idea. So I'm importing the models, yeah, importing the models like user and car, yeah, and also I'm importing the database object, which is the SQLAlchemy object, yeah. And what I have changed, guys, I have changed three views. The first one is the user page, the second one is the login, and the third one is the uh, register. So how it works, yeah. So you see that it is running, yeah, it is running. And if I refresh the page, okay, yeah, everything is coming. So nothing has changed, yeah. So from the front side it seems like nothing has changed, guys. Yeah, we still have the same functionality. We can do login, yeah. And if I provide some unexisting values, we will get like the login or username were wrong, yeah. And if I use the existing user credentials and do login, guys, I still have the same output, yeah. So nothing has changed from the front side, yeah. So let's do logout and let's do register, yeah. So still let's use like test user 3, test user 3, test user 3, password is 123. So we do registration. Yes, it registered successfully, yeah. So we can see that we have registered successfully. We can use this test user 3 and 123. So if we don't have a car for a user, so we just say that this user is Bishara, yeah. Okay, so this is the main changes maybe here. So in previous lecture, I haven't done this stuff because I was kind of lazy. But right now, if we don't have a car for a user, we at least can see his data, yeah, like username, first name, and second name. In the previous lecture, I was lazy to do so, but right now I did it. So what changes we did then? Yeah, what changes we did then, guys, is first thing. Let's see how the registration works. Okay, so you can see that the code is shorter than it was before, guys. We get the data from the form that we are sending from the registration page. Yes, like login, first name, second name, password 1 and password 2, to compare that these two passwords match each other. Yeah, and using this one line of code, yeah, I'm going to get all the existing logins. Okay, so this is needed to check whether the login exists or not. Okay, so if the login exists, yeah, if the login exists, uh, I'm not going to register this person yet, and I will throw this error message like saying already registered. Okay, so this query here, guys, how it works. So inside of the session, we have a query class, yeah, which accepts model name as the argument. And next, we have a function or method that will help us to create a query. Yeah, like select yeah, this is also, guys, in the query, this is also use it as select. Okay, so when you provide the only model name, you are going to select every field of this model. Okay, and if I do like user dot login, I'm going to take only login. Okay, so yeah, it should work this way. Yes, so you can see I'm going to take only login. I can provide like several stuff like user ID. Okay, so this is a select statement here. So I'm not going to take it because I don't mind. Even if I get at least one response, yeah, this login means registered. Okay, if this data is none, yeah, if this data is none, then I'm going to register a user. So this is how it works. Filter by, guys. In the filter by, you have two functions, methods. Sorry, you have two methods from the query. The first one is the filter by, and the second one is the filter. And difference is filter is a little bit powerful and it can accept keyword arguments. Yeah, sorry, not keyword arguments, but key value pairs, dictionary values. Yeah, but filter by is a little bit easier to use. So what you need to provide, you can provide what exactly you would like to see here. So I'm going to see all the users with the same username. Obviously, I should have only one. Okay, so that is why I'm just returning the first result. And also you can get this all stuff. Yeah, when you do all, guys, you are getting all the result from the query. It's like fetch all or fetch one. Okay, so yeah, if we satisfy this, oh sorry, if we don't satisfy these two conditions, like this user is not registered and the passwords match each other, then we are going to create a user. Yeah, so we are going to CRUD .py. We're going to CRUD.py. Yeah, and we are going to trigger this add user function. So here we need to provide a user object. Yeah, so like login is equal to login, user first name is equal to first name, and so on and so on. So this is going to add a user, and the next steps is the same as it was before, yeah, in the previous lecture. So we do redirect to the login page and with the context saying that successfully registered user. Okay, and so login, how login works now, guys. So I'm going to take login and password. Yes, and if these two statements satisfy the condition, like password and login matched. Yeah, so it means like I'm selecting everything related to a user where login and password the same that as we provided in the form of login page, and we are retrieving the first element from the query, and it is going to be only one element anyway again. Yeah, so if we have this user, we are going to create a session, and we say that authenticated is true, user ID is object. Yeah, so you can see, guys, the change here is that I am referring to attributes not as the indexes of the list or tuple, whatever, like it was in the previous lecture. Right now, I'm getting the object, exactly object. So when you query something, you get an object as an answer, okay? And you can use these objects, methods, attributes, and so on. So I'm binding this user ID and username to session and redirecting to the user page. And finally, guys, on the user page, I have again a query. Yeah, here I use join. I'm going to use join between user and car, and the main thing, I'm trying to get data from user, but I'm joining it with the car. So the car columns are not going to be shown on the in the query result. Okay, what all I get is the user related data. But guys, you can think how I get, gosh, we have a question, how do I get then these cars? Yeah, if I don't have it is in the request. It is because, guys, we have defined this line here. So this is retrieved as a user objects attribute, which is a list of cars. Yeah, and in the template, guys, in the template, you can see like I'm trying to send a context. Yeah, so we get some user. Yeah, we get some user, and we are showing this user. Yeah, so if we have context coming here, yeah, this is an object too, guys. I can send an object data to the template and access its attributes. So I can get like from the context. This is a user, guys. Here, this is a user exactly. Yeah. So I can get his login, can get his user first name, can get his user second name, and so on. And I know that this object also has an attribute like user cars, where all the user cars is stored as a list of car objects. So this is a car objects, guys. And I can run over these user cars and get their data too, like car.car vendor and car.car model. Okay? So this is how it works, and this is really nice and simple. Any questions? No? Okay, on the next week you will got more examples related to the SQLAlchemy and the Flask combination. So if you don't have any questions, you can be free for today, guys. Thank you.